Hi, everybody. Welcome to The Right Side with Doug Billings. We had a glitch. Now we're back. No sound. Thanks to Ben Axley on YouTube for pointing that out. Ladies and gentlemen, look, we have a lot of work to do as we strive to make America great again. President Trump was elected precisely because of what he's doing right now, and we knew it. I talked about this before the election, that we would see things like the Department of Education go away, fraud, waste, and abuse be canceled, and as a result, laziness being eradicated, people who don't go to work not being paid and just being cut and thrown out because they don't do a job. And so there's going to be some short-term pain. Anyone with any shred of intellectual maturity understands this. President Trump is doing something that hasn't been undertaken by any president in the modern era, reversing decades-long, in fact, over 100 years worth of fraud, abuse, waste, and tariff and trade deficits that have wiped us out. No longer. I'm going to talk about this and why it's the right thing to do and what we can expect. Ladies and gentlemen, from smack dab in the middle of the fruited plain, The Right Side with Doug Billings is now upon you. Are you ready?
Hey everybody, my name is General Mike Flynn, and I'm here to do a big shout out for my great friend and one of the best in the business, Mr. Doug Billings. Right Side with Doug Billings, Right Side with Doug Billings. Doug is the future of the airwaves when it comes to independent broadcasters and podcasters. He is the new Rush Limbaugh. He's exactly what America needs right now, looking for honesty, looking for wisdom, looking for truth, looking for patriotism. Listen to Doug Billings at Right Side with Doug Billings. God bless you and God bless America, and thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are winning. We're winning, winning, winning. Welcome to The Right Side with Doug Billings. Are you ready?
We are not liberal snowflakes who melt away in the face of tragedy, adversity, and challenge. We are a covenant nation under God, and His divine providence is not dead and it's not gone. It is living within each and every one of you. And you will bring it to life in such a way that the world has never seen before. We never back down. We never give up. We march forward.
And here we are, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. And I appreciate you. Those of you that were here a moment ago while I was having some audio troubles, we're back. Thanks again to Ben Axley over on YouTube for pointing that out to me. We're back with you, and hopefully everything is good. So we have, ladies and gentlemen, a long path ahead of us, really, when we think about what we need to do to reconcile the fact that President Trump is doing exactly what we need him to do in order to make America great again. The slashing of waste, fraud, and abuse going back over 100 years or more is what needed to happen. We elected him to do just this, to shake these things up and to make these changes. So on Truth Social and on X, he posted, hang in there, America, hang tough, and we will. You see, as it turns out, Americans are designed and built to hang tough and to get through hard times. We've built an entire republic facing adversity, challenge, tyranny, and so forth. And the radical left commune socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, would dare to suggest that we should wussify ourselves and give in and cave and not do this. Oh, it's too tough. We can't do it. We're not going to bear. Look, the stock market's crashing. We're not going to do it. We're not going to be able to survive. Well, this is their game plan. You all know they don't want Trump. They've never liked the guy. So they do anything they can to resist, to impede, and prevent President Trump's agenda. Well, no more. We will not let this happen. We will march forward, as I say, and we will prevail. The end result, in Trump's own words, historic, as he said on Truth Social and on X. He's right. He's absolutely right. I've been saying it since before the election. There's going to be short-term pain for long-term gain. You don't just eliminate an entire department, the Department of Education, and not have things like unemployment spike a bit. And what we've seen, quite frankly, is a reset that needs to happen. See, the people let go are the ones not doing a job, and you probably see them on the streets last weekend and the hands-off rallies that were going on across the country. You probably saw a lot of those people who have been sliced and diced away because they never bothered to show up to work, having to realize, gosh, I guess I'd better get a paid gig to go protest. So they sign up online, they're paid, and they go make these appearances in cities and states throughout the republic. But we know, we on the conservative side, that America is born from adversity, challenge, and tragedy, and we will see these adversities through. We will prevail. And I want you to stick with me for the next 20 minutes, because we're going to go into this, and I'm going to talk about it. And over the weekend, President Trump on his platform, Truth Social, and over on X with Elon Musk, he said, "Hang tough. It won't be easy, but the end result will be historic. We will make America great again." He followed it up today with a barn burner. And he's right. He's true. And here's what he said. He said, "Oil prices are down. Interest rates are down. Food prices are down. There is no inflation. And the USA is bringing in billions of dollars every week from tariffs." Folks, this is Trump doubling down on his economic masterstroke, his economic revolution, tariffs, slamming the brakes on decades of America being the world's punching bag. Now, the left, remember, the Communist Socialist Party, formerly known as Democrat, there are no more Democrats in the elected class. They have blended communism and socialism together. The Communist Socialist movement is what they are. The far left has taken that party over. They are no longer a pro-America political party. All you have to do is look on social media to see evidence of that. Every time you see one of the Krasensteins or Harry Sisson put up a post, or any member of the elected class on the left side, none of it is pro-America. The stock market is jittery, folks, and they're screaming chaos, chaos. Oh, look at this, it's chaos. We knew that this was going to happen. And isn't it ironic, though, when you see them scream about chaos? I mean, the radical left movement in America, the elected class, the hierarchy of the radical left liberal movement is only about creating chaos. That's what they did for the last 4 years with Administrator Biden and Vice Pretender Harris. I mean, the border is the most obvious example, but defunding the police, not prosecuting with extreme prejudice violent criminals, letting them back on the streets, not sentencing them at all or giving them light sentences. This is all part and parcel of allowing chaos, crisis, and crime to continue in America. That's what the radical left liberal movement wants. And if you wonder why, Doug, how is that so? Because they think that crime, crisis, and chaos drives you to believe that we need big government to protect us, and we don't. But here's the deal. Trump, in all of this, is playing 4D chess, and the radical left liberal movement is playing checkers. He's crashing the old system on purpose. And in the process, he's bringing back jobs. He's forcing companies to build things here, not in China, not in Mexico. And yes, for a short time, 1% of the products that listed on your grocery bill might spike just a bit. It might cost a little bit more to go to a store and buy that large flat screen TV that you wanted for a short time. But since when, and I put it to you, ladies and gentlemen, since when have Americans ever been afraid of doing the hard work of patriotism, of making America great again? I'll tell you when. It's only since the radical liberal agenda showed up that intends to wussify us into becoming sheep and doormats. Before the election, I was telling you we'd have to grit our teeth through all of this. But look at these early wins that we've already had and experienced since the short time Trump has been back in office. Billions with a B, in tariff revenue coming in to the United States. The other day, Ford Motor Company already offering discounts to keep production here stateside. This, ladies and gentlemen, this is the reset that we've needed ever since the globalists sold us out decades ago. And Trump's not wrong, folks. Oil prices are dropping. The Fed is finally waking up, and inflation is getting tamed. President Trump is delivering, folks. He's asking us to be strong. He's asking us to be courageous and patient, like patriots always have been. Not weak, not stupid. He calls it, don't be a panican, he said in his posts on social media. I love it. Don't panic. Don't be a member of the panican party. This is about backbone. It's about believing in America's greatness. It's about believing in the spirit and the exceptionalism of America that have made us great all along. Hang tough, patriots. We're on the cusp. I'm telling you, we are on the cusp of something historic. Okay, so now let's connect the dots to what I've been preaching on this show for months. Before the election, I told you that electing Trump would mean a short-term period of pain for the long-term game. Tariffs, check mark. Cutting the fat and bureaucracy from government, double check. All being done, just as I told you they would be. I was the first podcaster in this country to tell you that the Department of Education was going to be eliminated. I specifically called out the Department of Education. It was bloated. It's a useless relic of what the Communist Socialist, formerly known as Democrat Party, has been trying to put in place to control us. The Department of Education has been a propaganda mill. It's been indoctrinating our kids with woke nonsense. And all the while, since the day it was founded and put in place by President Carter, our test scores in America have absolutely tanked. So Trump's team, with Elon Musk in there and so forth and others, the Doge crew, slashing all of this bureaucracy, all of this waste, fraud, and abuse, the HSS, you name it, slashed and gutted. Department of Education, I've already mentioned. But why does that all matter? Why does it matter to us today based on what we've been seeing and hearing? Because every dollar we save from those swamps is a dollar that we can pour back into America. That's why. And that's important. More jobs, better infrastructure, real education, by the way, controlled by parents and the states within which they live. Finally, just as the founding fathers intended, by the way. Education is no longer controlled by some elitist in Washington, D.C. I said that we'd feel the pinch. Federal workers losing jobs, markets wobbling a bit. But the future, when we look beyond this, it's going to be great. This needs to happen. This is the birthing pangs of an American revolution that will give us the golden age that President Trump has so often spoken about. I mean, imagine America, speaking of schools and controls given back to parents, imagine America where schools actually give teachers and parents rights, and where education teaches reading, writing. And when I say writing, I mean, we're going back to cursive again, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, seriously, the radical left movement, this is how ridiculous it is. You notice that your kids haven't learned cursive in decades. It's because they don't want them to learn. They don't want the public to learn how to read the founding documents. I'm convinced of that. Reading, writing, arithmetic, civics, as opposed to just pure history, which is included, philosophy and patriotism, all back into the classroom. Not gender theory, not climate cultism, not the LGBTQ kook movement. That's the payoff of this short-term pain that we're going through. I saw it coming. The pain is real. I understand that. But folks, it's temporary. And President Trump is proving me right every day. Billions in tariff cash coming in. Manufacturing roaring back. This is the foundation of the American golden age. You didn't elect him for easy, folks. You elected him for results, and they're coming. I want to bring this home to Kansas for a minute, where I am. And I want you to imagine, you don't have to live in Kansas for this to be pertinent to you, because this applies to everybody. I've got my eyes set on that governor's seat in the state of Kansas. And if I get a chance to lead the Sunflower State, I'm taking a page from Trump's playbook. We're going to hang tough in America. We're going to hang tough in Kansas as we build this future, the golden age. Picture this. Tariffs on foreign goods for us mean that, for example, Kansas farmers and Kansas manufacturing get a level playing field. No more China dumping cheap junk here while our beef and our wheat are getting tariffed to death overseas. That's what President Trump is doing for us. That's what I'll do if I were allowed to dream a bit about being governor. I'd fight for reciprocal trade deals that put Kansas first. I'd be right there with President Trump, and the Department of Education gone at the federal level. I'd make sure that Kansas and other states don't replace it with some state level clone of what the DOE used to be. Return the power of schools to the local people, local school boards. Cut the bureaucracy. Let parents finally have the right to say what needs to be in the classroom and what's best for their children. This is not just common sense, ladies and gentlemen. This is what the founding fathers intended with regards to education, to be done and conducted and determined at the state level. Short-term pain? Sure, you bet. If I were the governor, if I were trying to do this in Kansas, some teachers' unions would howl at this. And we might have to tighten our belts. We might have to cut costs. But the gain of this, kids learning skills for real jobs, not some leftist dogma cultist theory about climate, not some myth about gender misappropriation from God. That is a mental disorder. I will seek to help those people. They need help. And we'll see that they get it. Lower taxes in Kansas, more factories across the country, jobs, real jobs, and tech skills, trade skills, welding. I mean, let's go back and auto shop and things like that. Let's get back to basics in education where people can get in and students can make a living with a trade. If you think Governor Ron DeSantis in Florida made Florida popular and famous with what he did, just wait if I'm elected governor of Kansas. Kansas will be on the map politically, socially, and economically. And we will deliver messages to the state throughout the month, throughout the week. We will prevail. That's my pledge. And Trump's showing us how it's done. We don't need to reinvent the wheel here. There's already a template, and it's been delivered to us through the MAGA movement and Trump conservatism. I'm going to bring it to Topeka. We're going to weed out the rhinos. We have a huge problem with people who put an R after their name who are really Democrats, and we will bring the MAGA agenda. Full force and power. Short-term pain. Tariffs. Cuts like the Department of Education. Watch out, there's more coming. It's paving the way for a historic, great future in this country. Get involved. Call your representatives in government. Tell them that you support this by President Trump. Tell them that you support President Trump and his agenda. That, you see, that's part of the reason why we've lost America to a degree. Before Trump showed up, we conservatives, although we have great intentions and do the hard work of patriotism within our local communities in a lot of ways, we raise traditional American families with traditional American Christian values. We've gone off to great wars and we've won them, but we have not, if we're honest with ourselves, we have not gotten involved in the grassroots level within our local communities, within the counties in which we live. That's how we lost America, but we're getting it back. And you can sense and you can see the great reawakening that's happening in this country. Local patriots are getting involved and they're reclaiming the republic. That's exactly how, by the way, the founding fathers designed us to survive. Not in Washington, D.C. Forget about Washington, D.C. You focus on your local community, your county, and the people who are running for office in your state. And you tell me if any of the candidates out there speak with this kind of passion and conviction and tell you the kind of truth that it takes this kind of guts to possess to even begin to think about in the first place. They're too worried about hurting people's feelings. Oh, well, hang on a minute. I don't want to hurt their feelings. I got to be more gentle in the delivery of my message. I'm going to go on a listening tour. Well, look, it's fine and well to listen to the people. But ladies and gentlemen, if a candidate tells you they're on a listening tour, they don't know. Why do you need a listening tour? Go out and meet people, sure, and talk to them and get their ideas. But if you can't articulate what's going wrong with this republic right now and what needs to be fixed, then you have no place running for office. In any state, wherever. So hang tough, America. Hang tough. We're going to get through this. We're going to get through it. Please remember to subscribe to this channel wherever you're watching. Follow me and go over to dougbillings.us just for the sake of this show. If you like the show, if you like the truth and the analysis, the state of play that it brings you, please think about going over to my website, dougbillings.us, www.dougbillings.us, and prayerfully, as I always ask, consider putting forth a $5 recurring monthly donation so I can continue to bring you the program for free. $5 a month is all. DougBillings.us. And ladies and gentlemen, we are in this thing together. I want you to believe it. I do. For the Republic, ladies and gentlemen, God bless you. Cheers.